Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to your Saheli chat show. My name's Jazz, and today we're going to be discussing traditions and cultures, which is a very exciting topic really, because it'll be a way to see what we're still doing, what we're not doing. And with me to discuss this, I have three guests here. I have Bali Gill. Hi Bali, welcome.
Hello Jazz, thank you for having me.
And Balak. Hi Balak, welcome.
Hi Jazz, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, and thank you for coming. And we have Harbinder Gosal. Hi Harbinder, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Jazz. I'm very pleased to be here.
Oh, we're very pleased to have you. So, ladies, traditions and cultures, what does that mean to you? I mean, do you feel like Vaisakhi, Lori, all the functions we used to celebrate back in the day, I'd say our parents or our grandparents used to celebrate, like even things like Diyan La Milla, do you think, are we still doing this? Or has this kind of lapsed?
I think all these festivals, they have lost its true dignity, it's lost its essence, what they were celebrated for. And especially the more we are going forward, other things have become more important for us, like Mother's Day, Father's Day, which yes, definitely holds an importance in our life. But we have lost the essence and the values of our own Indian festivals. We are getting more towards Western culture or Western festivals. But what does our festival mean? Does the current generation know about?
I think I agree with Bullock. For me, I'm a British-born Asian,
Yes.
born into a very traditional Punjabi Sikh family. So when we were growing up, the traditions were celebrated and embraced. But for me, the question was, why do we celebrate? And my parents were not really able to give me any answers that I could understand. So now, as an adult, I'm married, I've got children, we don't celebrate the Punjabi traditions and the festivals and the special days that we should, and with that I have a lot of guilt.
Yes.
But it's because I don't understand them myself, and how can I expect my children to embrace and carry on traditions which I can't educate them about? So I think Bullock's absolutely spot on. You know, we've lost the true meaning of why we were celebrating. And again, living in a Western culture, you know, there's so much other, you know, other stuff like you know, Christmas, you know, and it's a public holiday. Whereas when it's Vaisakhi or the Diwali, you don't get a public holiday. We all have to work. We go to school. So when do we celebrate? When do we really embrace it?
Absolutely.
And I think it's, you know, a lot of things.
Out of all of our traditions, I think Diwali is the one that's more in the limelight, if you like, and everybody knows about it and everybody discusses it. Even like my English colleagues, they'll say, "Oh, Jazz, you can bring in samosas in because it's Diwali." So you know that is still very much there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But for me, I think we're part of that society where we believe in all the Sikh. And we always attend their events and we go to the gurdwaras. So from that we get a lot back by even on research, but Google anything, we know what Vaisakhi is about, and we actually love celebrating Vaisakhi, love celebrating Diwali and what our gurus have done for us. So it's the religious side of things that we really take to our heart, and we do celebrate. And you get I've got two boys, and they're the first ones there at the gurdwaras to help out. We believe in selflessness, seva. So all that comes from that, the culture, the religious side of things. So we're there, although the Western culture's there for us as well, but we sort of tend to, really concentrate on these things as well.
Yeah, I've got to agree with Bali here, because like I too go to the Gurdwara every single day, and when you do go to the Gurdwara, you find out what's the next event that we're supposed to be celebrating, or what is today about. They always touch on it in the morning. So you kind of can come home and tell your children, today it's this Babaji's Janamdin, today it's this. But if you don't go yourself, and if you don't understand yourself, then how are you going to explain it to anybody else? And one other thing is, like, Balak, I know you're born in India. Yeah. Certain traditions are celebrated at certain times of the year, like Lori and Vaisakhi, and obviously there's meanings, aren't there, behind all these, right?
Yes, there are different occasions. Like Lori is normally celebrated celebrate the birth of a son, which in India's community, but people don't really understand it, and it's mostly a Sikh or a Punjabi festival, but a lot of Hindus who belong to the Indian culture, but they don't understand it, why is Lohri celebrated. So a bigger question in front of us today is, how do we make the younger generation or the present generation aware the essence or the meaning of these festivals? Why is a particular festival celebrated in a particular way at a particular time of the year? What does Baisakhi mean? Does it mark the season of the new, does it mark the spring season coming in, or okay, planting of the wheat? So we need to make people aware of these festivals.
Absolutely, and hopefully us being here today and doing this kind of chat shows will raise awareness of certain traditions, cultures, what they mean. And it's like, to me, Vaisakhi is like where the Brotherhood of Sikhism was formed, wasn't it? The Banj Pyare. And obviously we celebrated it in our typical Punjabi, you know, flamboyant way. So to me, Vaisakhi is like a big, I've always grown up celebrating it, and we celebrate it now, and my children have grown up celebrating it more than certain other events. But it's just knowledge and knowing why, and then you need to drill that down to the next generation and make special foods, and you do this, and you dress up, you go to the Gurdwara. But they want to know why, don't they? Why are we doing it?
And I think that's what was lacking for me. We just did it and we accepted it and we loved celebrating. And you're right, you do it in a big Punjabi way. But for me, because the knowledge wasn't there, and I think Balu's right, you know, you can Google the knowledge now. But I think I've missed something and not made that connection. So for me, although I respect the culture, the traditions, and I celebrate to a certain event, they're not the main thing that we as a family celebrate. But can I just go and touch upon Lohri? Of course. My firstborn child was a daughter, and she was very much a wanted child, you know, absolutely, you know, was bowled over by her. For me and my husband, it didn't matter that, you know, our firstborn was a daughter, and I think cultures are changing, views are changing. But Lohri came round and my family didn't celebrate Lohri for my daughter. Neither did they give out laddu and barfi. So I was really hurt.
Yeah,
I wanted to celebrate, you know, the birth of my daughter.
But it's up to us, isn't it, to make that change?
But I wasn't supported by my family. In fact, it was all very hush-hush, you know.
It's a girl.
What is she doing? You know, what is she trying to prove? So during that time, this was going back 10, 11 years ago, the big thing was, on the first birthday, you had a massive party, almost like a wedding reception. You had a DJ, big party. So I thought, right, okay, you know, I'll do it for my daughter, and I did. Had no backing off, you know, family, but they all came, they celebrated, they embraced it, you know, they're very happy to do it, but nobody was willing to come forward and say, yes, we need to do this for your daughter. You know, she was the first grandchild in the family, let's do this. And then I had a nephew, and all the grandparents and the aunts and uncles came forward, and we had a beautiful Lohri for him, bless him, and we had the first birthday, and we had an account part. My daughter didn't get an account part, you know, and that hurt. So I think it's perhaps not it's not the religion, it's not the true meaning of the traditions. I think it's how, as a society, we are applying them in everyday life, and we need, and there needs to be that understanding. There needs to be the equality. Now, fast forward 6 years, then I have a little boy, and my daughter didn't get Lohri, so I didn't do Lohri for my son. And it was about equality, And again, a very much a loved, wanted little boy, and he knows every day of his life that he's wanted and celebrated.
Yes.
But I was not going to have a Lohri celebration. And the great thing about my husband is he was born and brought up in India, so he's a lot more traditional than I am. He embraced that as well, absolutely. Our daughter didn't get that, so our son's not getting it. So, you know, I come from a slightly different angle, perhaps, on my experiences. But again, for me, it's about educating myself, and then I can educate my children, and then we can celebrate.
And things have changed a lot, because I've recently been to quite a few pink Lohri celebrations, which I think is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And like the pink laddus and everything, you know.
Things are changing a lot.
That was needed. That change was needed.
I had a granddaughter, and I did
we all made that happen, didn't we?
And as Bally said, it's up to us, you know, to take that step and change that perception.
And let's touch a little bit on weddings. You know, when we go to weddings, like, I don't know if you can, I can't do the bollingan, the gidda, because there's not many people that can do it. Like before, everybody in that room would like start singing and dancing, and you know that's kind of dying down. And we're looking for people. Oh my God, it's my son's wedding, and who's going to sing at the Nangi Shack, and who's going to do that? Do you find that?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, you know, in the Black country, it was just fantastic being a child in a room where the ladies did gidda. And they, you know, sang their hearts out with these bollinga, and they went on for hours, and it was just the most fantastic celebration. Well, we are losing that.
We definitely
now, if you've got a couple of bibia who still know the bollinga and are willing to engage and get involved, you can still have a nice gidda. But now it's more about, do you put a CD on? Do you get a DJ? Do you, you know, do bhangra? So again, I think we're moving away from it. But what's really great is all the Punjabi dance troupes that are trying to...
They're still there, aren't they?
They're still there.
Yes.
So not only do they perform, they teach.
Yes.
So if we want to keep up those traditions, there are avenues. You know, you can, again, education, you can go and learn how to do it. If there's nobody in your family who you can learn it from.
Yes.
And it's again about, you know, all of us embracing that and not letting go of these traditions.
And I think thanks to the internet and today's day and age, where we can just Google everything up, even if we don't know about those things, we can just download it, go on YouTube, learn it, and make sure that obviously we teach this to our coming generation. So it's about how much we want to learn and embrace our own traditions and cultures and pass it on.
Yes, definitely. And it's like things like when at the start of a wedding, you know, when you like do the Karai program and you make gogle. Why gogle? Why not laddu? Why not barfi? You know, not everybody understands, right? Why does it have to be with gogle? But
do you know the answer, Jazz? Because I don't.
You know what? What I know is, right, is like the first thing you do is make the gogle, because on the, like, say the wedding's on a Sunday, on the Wednesday, what you do is the bride or the groom, whoever's getting married, you put the gogle into their choli. And that is a sagan, and that's all I know. I don't know it in depth. I'd be lying if I said, but that's what I know, and I know gogle is the first thing that you do.
Just do it because we're told to do that.
Because you're told to do it.
It's happened to us,
and then they're going to do the sagan. Yeah,
It'd be good to somebody to write a book about these things. You know, there's the roka, the taka, the karmai. You know, there's all these other the manga. And there are certain beliefs behind that, you know.
And people are just following them blindfolded. They just don't want to understand, or they don't want to explore why are we following a certain belief. What is the meaning behind a certain belief, such as you can't cut your hair on a Saturday, you can't shampoo on Tuesday, you can't eat non-veg on this day. But why? Why are we following it? Do we understand it?
And we don't know the meanings, and we ask, you know, like, I remember my mum saying, don't wash your hair on Saturday. I says, why not? She says, because I've got a bit of temper on you anyway, and it makes you angry. And I thought, how, you know, I don't know. But I don't actually do that. I let my children wash their hair any day, because every day.
And again, for me, it was not understanding, you know, don't sweep the floor, it's night time, don't wash your hair.
Yes.
You've only got one brother and you can't do this because you've only got one brother and it'll affect his well-being. But I don't understand. And then one day I washed my hair on the wrong day and I didn't die and nothing bad happened. And that was it for me. It was like, okay, I'm going to be okay.
Yes.
And again, you know, is it tradition? Is it culture? Is it superstition? And it's, you know, again, the education. And, you know, I'm a Sikh and we're not supposed to believe in superstition. But my family who are practicing Sikhs, they believe in superstition. So, you know, what's right? Am I saying my parents are wrong? You know,
it's what they knew.
It's a blurry line, isn't it?
Yeah, and even fasting,
but if they looked at the religious side, they looked at into the Granth Sahib, they would know that superstition shouldn't exist.
No, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't exist. So it's, you know, the true values of that Sikhism. You know, I think people, you know, they just start following it, and generation after generation, they just think it's true.
I mean, when
maybe
I visit,
it's a sense of security.
You know, when I visit my Nanny Ji now, if I dare sneeze at the door, that's it. She's putting me back in.
Come back in, sit down. If you've done two, it's okay. But if you've just done the one, you've got to sit down and do your midtamu, and then you can do it.
That's right.
And also, if there's a special occasion, or you're starting a wedding ritual, and if somebody sneezes, God, the looks they get. Sometimes you can't help it, right? It could be hay fever. It could be hay fever.
And especially if you're footing out of your house and someone just calls you, you just can't go out of the house now because someone has called you back. You just can't give the last.
And it's just like some people, because they know about these things, they start believing in them. If you didn't know about it, you won't, think or give it a second thought. But like Bali said, like the Guru Granth Sahib, it teaches you everything. If you go to the Gurdwara, if you listen to the Guru Granth Sahib, try to listen to the Hukamnama, break it up into little pieces, right? You start to understand. That's how I've started to understand. Like we shouldn't fast, we shouldn't really go to any other place other than the Gurdwara, and just have your faith, and that's what keeps you going.
And it's on a very spiritual level. If you look deeper into the meaning, it's not about the superstition, and there's none of that in there. You're not going to find the answers because it's not there. And that relationship with God, whatever you choose to call him, it's a very personal journey. And quite a selfish journey as well. You've got to learn, you've got to go that way before you can then practice and be that humanitarian that Sikhism wants to teach you to be. But for me, I remember being 7 years old and at school, and at a parents' evening, my parents and my older sister were told, you're going to have trouble with her because her my teacher was right, because after everything I would say, but why? And it wasn't because I was obstinate or rude or stubborn. I wanted to know, and there were answers that even my teacher couldn't give me. So I would say, well, okay, but why? I will not do something or believe something until I know why. Decades later, I'm still asking.
You're still asking the questions.
But why?
It's like Rakkhadiyan now. Look, like so many. I remember growing up as a child, they said, why do I have to do the Rakkhadi on my brother? Why don't he do it on me?
Why can't he do it?
Why can't I have one? Again, it's like you say, it's just understanding why. I know back in the day, it was like sisters were asking brothers to protect them, but nowadays, girls are very very strong, very independent, and they don't really need anybody looking after them. But it's nice that this tradition does carry on, because at the end of the day, it's still an opportunity or an excuse to go and see your brother.
Or maybe an excuse just to get together, to see your family, to be with everyone around. It's just how the Indian culture is. Because you need occasions after a few weeks to get together, to meet people.
And that's how they used to do it in India. They used to do Lodi. I mean, they did Lodi in January because it was like that time of the year. There was like a lot of moongfly and stuff like that. And because it was cold, they'd light the fire. And it was just an excuse to get together and celebrate. It's like with most of our traditions and our cultures.
Again, going back to the fact that perhaps I do need to educate myself about the traditions, about my religion. What I find is that if you celebrate a certain event, whether it's Rakkhadiyan or whether it's Diwali, again, you get attacked on social media. Diwali is for Hindus. Do not celebrate it. And then somebody who knows more about Sikhism than me will come on and educate me about why we have a celebration, why Sikhs celebrate, and you think, okay, I understand that, but whether I call it Diwali or I call it something else, please let me celebrate in peace. And again, if you're going to tie a Rakhi, that's the Hindu tradition, and because I haven't educated myself, I can't argue back. I think, well, am I doing something that's wrong? And then I go back to, well, actually, if I go back to the meaning of it, that special bond between a brother and sister, that's all I need to know. Whether it's a Hindu festival or Sikhism, we're all humanitarians, we're all human beings. So if my children want to celebrate that day, just like Mother's Day, Father's Day, and the true meaning is about that bond and celebrating that bond between siblings, let's do it. If it's an excuse to see your family who you haven't seen, let's do that. As I've said earlier, I've got a son and daughter, my brother's got a son and daughter. It's rigmarole at the grandparents' house on Rakkhadiyan, because the boys have Rakkhadiyan and the girls have Rakkhadiyan because the girls want them. The boys get money because the girls get money. And that's the way we're educating them, and we're educating them in the way that it's just a nice way to celebrate that bond between brothers and sisters. And at that young age, that's what they understand. And because that's relevant to them, I think they will carry
They'll
that
carry on.
when
Yeah,
the
they will.
grandparents are gone and the parents are gone. If I try and teach our children in a different way at this
Yes.
age, I don't think they'll think it's
They're not gonna
relevant.
listen, yeah.
Think, well, no, you know, it's not Christmas and it's not this,
No,
you know, but
no.
that they do understand.
And as long as they carry on with them, no matter how they do it, you know, it's good because, like say, the tradition carries on, right?
Tradition carry, and you have to find a way where they can understand it, and not in a way where you want to impose it on them. You want them to enjoy the festival. You want them to enjoy the
Exactly.
feeling of their
Exactly.
tradition. And I think another important festival which is always in question, or which is always a point of contact, which is Karwa Chauth. Why women keep fast for the long life of a husband, and there's so many myths, so many beliefs,
Yes.
so many
Yes.
superstitions, and
Yes,
yeah, around it. And I think we need to clear the air that what it is actually for. Is it your belief that your husband will have a healthy and a long life?
That's Karwa Chauth, isn't it? Yes.
And why is it only a women's shop? Why can't a husband fast for a woman
Yes.
as well?
And they also say with that one, the Karwa Chauth, if you start it, you've
Yeah.
got to do it for the
Yeah.
rest of your life, haven't you?
Yeah.
And then like you could get like superstitious. Oh my God, you know, I haven't done it 1 year. I hope nothing's going to happen to him.
Again, superstition.
Yeah.
I know, but they have excuses. You know, if you're expecting a baby, then you
Then
can
you
leave
don't-
it.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
you don't have to do it.
Yes.
But otherwise, if you're started,
Otherwise,
you
you've got to do it, right? And there are certain traditions, call it traditions or beliefs, about like, say somebody's husband's passed away.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a widow,
Yeah.
they say, oh, you know, oh, she shouldn't be doing this, she shouldn't be wearing this. But again, why?
Why?
Because I personally feel, because certain things these older women weren't allowed to do, or they didn't try to do, that's where the restriction is.
Because they
For
didn't try to
us
bring
now.
the change, and that's why they don't want to even see the change.
Yes. Whereas now we are a different generation, and we are a bit of both, aren't we? A bit of Western, a bit of Eastern, and we just want to be who we are. And we
Yeah.
say, no, I always dress like this, and I'll always dress like this. I personally experienced a lot of things when my husband passed away. So, and I think some of these things are not right, because you can easily lose yourself.
Yeah.
Thinking, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't join in the
Yeah.
celebrations. But
I
why?
mean, dressing or behaving in a certain way isn't going to bring that person back. It's not
Absolutely.
going to bring your husband back. You're not being disrespectful by being true to yourself. You know, your grief will live with you.
Absolutely.
But again, education, empowerment, feminism, and this is not about devaluing the role of the
Yes.
male and not demasculating them.
No.
It's about that equality, and Sikhism, fantastic religion, because it advocates
Yes.
that time and time
It
again.
does, it does.
Yeah, I mean, I was explaining to a friend, you know, and I must say, you know, my disclaimer is I don't know a lot about Sikhism, much to my embarrassment. But in the Gurdwara, you know, you have men on one side,
Yes.
women on another. And a friend of mine who isn't Sikh, she said, oh, you know, that's just you lot, you know, segregating. I said, no, it's about equality. It's
Yes.
about that balance.
It
you know,
is,
It's that
it is.
scale. And when she understood it that way, she thought it was beautiful. And it's about that lack of understanding, isn't it?
Then you can explain it, can't you? And people
Yeah.
think, wow, you know, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
Absolutely.
How you explain it to your colleagues, to your friends,
Yes.
to your kids, and how you in yourself believe or accept that it's about equality, it's about empowerment. First, you need to believe in yourself before you make the other person believe.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
Because
when
if you
I-
don't believe in it, how are you going to convince anybody else?
Yeah, I always talk to my English friends, and you know, they think some of the things are so beautiful that you know they would like to do the same. It's like the Irish, you know, they have a song and a dance up,
Yes,
and you know, them singing like we sing, like Aswag nights, and
Yes.
you know, all the different Gane,
Sikha, Sere,
you
all
know,
these different things.
Yeah,
that-
like
it's just amazing.
Fuchunian, when you know the girl leaves home, they do it all, and it's just
Yeah.
absolutely amazing to
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
And the Gaudi family, it's like the Raklinga. You know, oh, wish we had a brother and
Yeah.
sister day, because that's what they call it. I thought,
Absolutely.
that is lovely, isn't it? Really,
they
that
love-
we are part of that.
Absolutely, and they love our weddings, don't they? The
do.
fact that they go on for 3-4 days. I know my neighbours are so excited about my son getting married.
Yeah.
And they go, Jazz, we can't wait, you know? Because they go, we've heard, we've never been to one, but we've heard they are amazing, they're colourful events.
It's about the whole ambience. You've got so many of your
Absolutely.
family together. Everyone is so united, and that's the thing.
And very
which is
colourful.
very
They love
colourful.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's about the celebration of two families, two souls,
Absolutely.
you know, coming together and celebrating their life together, rather than just an excuse for a big party. That's how I like to see
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And do you understand about any of the like the smaller things that, well, the bigger things that happen, but we don't really discuss them much, like Nan ki Shak, Jago, you know? Do you really understand?
Not really.
Why
I'm just taking
and
it
why we do
at the
this?
most superficial level. I suppose the Jago is like, you know, the start of the celebration and letting everyone know that, you know,
Yes,
there's
this is
a
the
wedding,
house,
putting that
you know,
message,
yeah.
you know, this is the wedding house, this is where the celebration is. And with Nanaki Shak, again, you know, it's about the Nanaki, you know, the maternal family, giving that daughter a good start in life, you know, giving her a little bit to begin her married life with. But that's on a very superficial level. I understand it. I don't actually understand or have researched the real meaning. But even if we take it at a superficial level,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
It is.
If you're
Very,
giving,
very
you know,
beautiful.
that young woman, you know, a helping hand to start her married life, well, that's just beautiful.
Showing the women that your family is behind you to
Yes.
support you, will be always with you.
Absolutely.
And the family understands their responsibilities
Yeah.
throughout the wedding, that the day two is the Nangi day,
Yeah.
and it's all about them, and this is what they do. And back in India, they say Nangi used to pay for half the wedding,
Yeah.
which in a lot of families,
Yeah.
even here, the Nangi do a
Yeah,
lot, don't they?
they do. I know, especially, you know, my Naniji, they did a lot. And,
Yeah.
you know, my dad's indebted
Yeah.
to them because he had 2 daughters. And, yeah, it's, I think going beyond the extravagance and the big, you know, the big show day and trying to understand
Yes.
the reason. And each of the reasons are beautiful.
They are.
Yeah. And that's what we've got to remember. That's what we've got to educate on.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we've got to keep these traditions and these events and everything
Yeah.
alive, really.
Yeah,
Because
and just get the balance right. Where we need to move on a little bit and make it more relevant. Where we talked about equality,
But even that's not happening.
Yeah.
Obviously, some weddings are just like, you know, they're sort of like giving up their houses. Even in India for weddings, that's so wrong. You know,
That
it's about
is
keeping
the
that
pressure.
balance. And I think, you know, I've got 2 boys, and when my son got married, I said to the girls' side, I don't want anything. Yes, you can give me a suit because that's what you want to. You want to do
yeah,
something.
yeah.
But please do not give me anything else, because I don't personally want it. Whatever you want to do, give it to the boy and girl, their blessing.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, you
Yeah.
can do that. But I know there are some, you know, mothers out there who want to marry their boys and they're asking for so much. And it's so sad that is happening. And it's up to us youngsters to start making those changes.
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully we will get there.
Yeah, and if you believe in a certain tradition or think, no, that this is not right, then do it. Be the change. You believe in it, so do it.
Do it. If you won't change anything, nothing will change.
No, it won't. And it's all about strength in numbers. You know, when one person starts doing it, others will do it, and the change will happen.
It will happen.
And I know I've been piping on about education. It's about education, not
It
just
is.
the girls,
That's
but
right.
our
That's the
boys, our
biggest thing.
sons.
It is.
You know, I want to be at the point where when my children get married, that both families pay for the wedding equally.
Yes,
They make
yes.
joint decisions. It's not a big, you know, lavish affair.
No.
It's a reasonable celebration,
Yeah.
and it's funded by
Both
you know
the
both families.
Yeah.
Without you know the girl's family feeling like they haven't done their job. You know,
Absolutely.
and with the you know the groom's family feeling it's their duty as
Yeah.
well. You know, to put their
Yeah.
hand in their pocket.
Yeah.
So
Because
it's
they've got a
got to
daughter.
start at grassroots level. We've
Absolutely.
got to capture the children's views
Yes.
and educate them. And educating our boys is as important as
yes.
empowering
Very
our
much so.
girls.
Yes.
I think that's what we can do.
Yeah. Just one thing I'll touch on is like when you said empowering girls, even in India, I went a few months ago, the girls have got amazing jobs there. They've done so well,
yeah.
whereas the boys don't really want to
Yeah,
do much.
yeah.
And it's all become about the girls,
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
which is great. Look how they were back in the day, and look
look-
what the girls
yeah.
have achieved now.
They are achieving a lot. They're in so many fields. They're doing so much
doing
in it. They're
everything.
so independent. They're running their own businesses. They're
Yeah.
in professional world. In any field, you just name it, and you'll find a lady there.
Absolutely. And do you know my dad, because we went to India with my dad, and he was like, he said, pilot, apni kudi jahaz chada ke liya hai."
yeah.
He was so like inspired.
yeah,
He goes,
really
"Dekh lo, kudi leke
impressed,
aai hai." He was
yeah.
so impressed.
Yeah.
And he goes, munde kuch kar de nahi, look at the kudi. You know, he was like shocked, taken back, but he was really like happy that the girls were doing this.
we have to do it, you know.
Yeah.
From some of the stories I've shared with you today, you probably think that you know, Harbin is a little bit of a rebel, and I was.
Yeah.
You know,
think we
when
all
I
have
was
that in
being
us.
educated, you know, I was the first girl in my family to have a university education. I was lucky to have a supportive father.
Absolutely.
But you know, the plan for me was I was going to be a sewing machinist, and I was going to be married before the age of 20. So 16 to 18 was the gap to find me a husband. And I was having none of it. I was going to university, supported by Dad. So Dad said, of course you're going to university, great. But you're going in Birmingham. No, I'm not, Dad. I'm going where I want. And now, you know, whatever sex you are in my family, you get a university education. And they still, you know, tell the tale that, you know, Harbinder went and she's, you know, made this route for you guys.
Yeah.
You know, go and do it. And that's all we can do. You know, whatever little change, you know,
Yes,
you know, we can
absolutely.
make. That's what we've got to do. And at times, Jazz, it was hard. You know, it was hard for my father to stand up to his brothers. It was hard to stand up to grandparents.
Because it wasn't a dumb thing, was it?
You're opening up a minefield here. You know, what's going to happen? Something awful's going to happen. She's going to bring shame on this family. And I didn't. And my dad believed in me. And so that's what I want to do with my children.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
Just, you know, fight for their rights as well.
Absolutely.
You know.
I was the opposite. My dad wanted to get me married. I was the eldest of 5, 2 brothers and 3 sisters. But my dad wanted me to get married because all his friends' daughters were getting married.
Yes.
And he wanted me to get married at the age of 18, which I did. And so I had no education, only went to college in 6th form, and that was it really. And I got married, but then for me to have got married at such a young age, I did not want that for my children, my daughters, my son. I wanted to give them an education because you always want your children to have what you didn't have if you didn't have it.
Sometimes you learn from your experiences. Sometimes you are in a way where you understand the change, you understand the meaning that it needs to be changed. And sometimes you learn from your experiences. But as long as we understand it and we are united to work towards that change, that is very, very important. And I think we are working towards it. And that's the reason maybe we're sitting here and talking about this, because we are moving towards that change.
Yes. And we've come a long way, haven't we?
Definitely.
No,
But
I
we
got
mustn't
married
stop. We mustn't get complacent.
We mustn't. No, we mustn't.
You know,
this must
we've got
continue.
To keep going. You know, it's we've got so much progress to make.
Absolutely. And you know, everybody has a purpose, don't they, in life that they want to achieve, or a goal they want to achieve, and we should encourage each other to achieve that, especially our children, you know, males, females, everybody. Valley, you were going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say I got married and I wasn't given the education that I really wanted to have, and that was one dream that was for me, that to get that degree. I wanted it so badly. I had my children, I had a mortgage, and you know, and I wanted that education still.
Yes.
So after I had my children, I went for it then.
Good.
Without the support of the family, because they were saying, well, what are you going to do now? I says, well, I've got 5 years to do a degree part-time, and that's what I'm going to do.
Brilliant.
And I was a lucky one. Somebody gave me that opportunity, gave me 2 days off work to do it. So I went for it and I did it. And do you know what? My family's so proud of me now.
I bet they are.
You
well,
know,
it's
they are.
amazing.
And my children used to sit with me, do their homework, and you know, and I'm so happy that I got my dream, and it was, you know, just amazing for me to get there.
Yeah.
And all I kept saying is, God, there's just one thing I want from you. It's just let me please be educated.
And you know
As
what?
a little girl, you know.
Yeah, and that's where law of attraction comes in. Sometimes
gotta
when you
fight.
wish for something, or you want it that much, or you focus on it that much,
You get it.
you get it.
Get it.
You get it. Believe you me, you get it.
If you think you want it, you'll
Yes.
get it.
And whereas
And
if you
work
think
hard
about
for it,
and if you're thinking on negatives, that's what you get.
That's what you get, even
you
if you think
attract
negative.
whatever you think about, wherever you put most of your thoughts.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, ladies, and it's been a fantastic chat show. Thank you so much. And what I'll do is, before you go, just a little bit of a message for our audience. Bali, is there anything you'd like to leave our audience with?
Yes, please make those little steps and make those changes, especially for people who are suffering, like the girls, you know, who have to pay for a dolly, and, you know, the big events we do for the weddings. Let's cut them down.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Believe in yourself, believe in our cultures, traditions, customs, but don't believe in the superstitions or the beliefs related to it.
Thank you, Palak.
And again, for me, it's got to be educating and empowering our children, both boys and girls. We've done so much, but there's so much work still to do.
Thank you so much, and that's all we've got time for today. And our audience will be back very shortly with another episode of Your Saheli Chat Show. Vaigu Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaigu Ji Ki Fateh.